All right, good morning, and thank you all for joining us. From day one, I have been laser focused on delivering the tangible results our communities need, especially when it comes to federal funding. The two funding bills we passed for fiscal year 24 that were signed into law included a combined $58 million in funding for our district, inclusive of $38 million in community project funding. These were funds to meet a variety of critical needs for our district, ensuring clean drinking water for various localities, mitigating flooding in several neighborhoods, revitalizing downtown communities, providing critical resources for local law enforcement, and creating jobs right here in our district. Although the appropriations work for the new fiscal year is still ongoing, I'm pleased to announce today that we have already secured more than $32.9 million for 15 different projects in our district in fiscal year 25. These projects have passed through the House, and when we get back in November, will be finalized as part of fiscal year 25. When I was elected to represent this district, I promised I would work with my partners at every level of government and in both parties to prioritize the needs of our residents. And that's exactly what I've done in working with each of the officials with me here today to ensure funding for each of these important projects. Throughout my time in office, I've been proud to stand up for the law enforcement heroes in our community, fight like hell to ensure they have the resources they need to protect and serve our communities. Last year, we secured more than $800,000 for the town of Mount Pleasant's police department. This year, we've secured more than $7 million for the Rockland County Sheriff's Department. These funds will meet two critical needs for our law enforcement officers, providing them with much needed new equipment and a brand new training facility right here in Clarkson. To discuss the impact this funding will have for our police force and for Rockland County's families, I'd like to call up a great partner in government right here in our county, Rockland County Sheriff Lou Falco.
Let me just say that as much as I have a grant writer and we're always putting out, Congressman Waller reached out to the lower Hudson Valley. We had a Zoom meeting, and he asked me what I needed, as he did the other counties in the lower Hudson Valley. And I told them of the initiatives and the training needed for our law enforcement throughout the county. It's not only for the sheriff's office, it's going to outfit all the police agencies in Rockland County. And I told them that this new training facility would be open to other law enforcement agencies throughout the Hudson Valley, the region, and federal services. And he was more than glad to go out front and pursue that funding for us. And on behalf of myself, all the police chiefs, all the law enforcement in Rockland County, Mr. Congressman, we thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And last year, we were proud to work with Sheriff Falco to make sure that over $10 million was brought back to law enforcement for funds they were due from the federal government after years of stonewalling and delays. And the sheriff really led on that effort, working with me and Senator Schumer. We were proud to work with you to get that done. So we will continue to fight to make sure that law enforcement and our first responders here in the Hudson Valley have the resources that they need. In addition, the city of Peekskill will also be receiving important public safety funding for new police facilities to the tune of over $500,000. Here to discuss the impact these funds will have on the ability of law enforcement to protect Peekskill's neighborhoods is Peekskill City Manager Matt Alexander. Matt?
I just want to thank you for this very important opportunity of getting funding. The city of Peekskill has been plagued with an inability to service its female police officers in a building that's over 50 years old. And so we're looking forward to getting these critical resources and infrastructure put in place so that we can more adequately protect and serve the people of Peekskill and northern Westchester County. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I'm proud to announce that we were able to also secure $2.25 million for new water storage tanks for the village of Pleasantville, mitigating risks attached to their leaking north and south water storage tanks. Without this funding, Pleasantville's north and south water tanks would continue to suffer from leakage, compromising the village's water supply that could hurt quality of life in the village. This investment will prevent that from happening. I'm so glad to have Pleasantville Mayor Pete Scherer here with us today to discuss the impact this will have on his town. Pete? Oh, okay. Apologize. I think he's a little delayed, so if he gets over here, we'll pull him up. Another project that we secured funding for is the Nanuet Transit-Oriented Development Plan, otherwise known as a TOD, which will be receiving $5 million in federal funding for water and sewer infrastructure improvements, road, sidewalk, and pedestrian safety measures, and streetscape enhancements. Here to discuss this project and the impact it'll have on Nanuet residents is Clarkstown Town Supervisor George Homan.
Good morning, and I want to thank Congressman Lawler. This is a significant investment in the people of Clarkstown and in our Nanuet transit-oriented development zoning area. We rezoned this area prior to COVID. We've got a number of projects that are coming through, and this will be a real shot in the arm. This will enable us to connect between the train station through the shops at Nanuet. Will help us also with some property acquisition and overall improvement of infrastructure, which will help to bring about well over 500 new units of badly needed housing within the downtown Nanuet area. And I really want to thank the Congressman for his partnership. This isn't the first significant funding request that he's been successful on. We've got many others that we've talked to him about. And, you know, not only this, but Jeffrey Court in West Nyack, which will forever end flooding for the people in that area. And I want to thank the Congressman for his continued efforts in bringing back the money to the residents of the 17th Congressional District. Thank you, Congressman.
I know we have some folks from the Nanuet Chamber here, as well as John Valentino, Councilman, Don Francino, Councilman, Laura Marie Roll, Town Clerk. So thank you all for being here as well. In addition to improving pedestrian walkways in Clarkstown, the town of Ramapo will also be receiving $5 million towards the installation of pedestrian safety measures, which comes on the heels of an additional $8 million that we were able to secure in fiscal year 24. These improvements will help with the installation of pedestrian safety, traffic signals, turning lanes, walking paths, and sidewalks in the town of Ramapo and numerous villages contained within. We've seen far too many accidents in the town, and this project will help mitigate those risks, but will also cultivate a more pedestrian-friendly environment. Here to discuss the impacts of this project on behalf of Town Supervisor Mike Speck is Mona Montel, Chief of Staff, Director of Purchasing and Operations for the town of Ramapo.
Thank you, Congressman. Wasn't expecting to have to say thank you, but if there was some glue that brought all of the 12 villages and the unincorporated areas within Ramapo together, it was none other than Congressman Lawler. You had a fractured town before he made it into office, where our villages in the unincorporated town didn't even speak to one another. He brought us over $8 million last year, and everybody learned how nice it is to work together. Your $5 million this year will save lives, and our hearts are with you. And stay safe, and thank you for doing all you do for us.
Also included in the fiscal year 2025 community project funding is $1.25 million for the Carmel Water District 2 water plant upgrade and rehabilitation project. This funding will help repair and replace a 60-year-old facility and associated equipment to meet federal and state requirements of PFOAs. Beyond safeguarding public health, the project will have far-reaching positive effects on various institutions and businesses in downtown Carmel. including the Putnam Hospital and Carmel High School. Here to discuss this project and impact it will have on Carmel residents is Carmel Town Supervisor Mike Kazari.
Thank you very much, Congressman. The town of Carmel has been very lucky with the Congressman's help. This is the second time that he's brought millions to the town. Never before have we ever received any money from the federal government, $100,000 here or there. You're just outstanding. Thank you so much for everything you do for the town of Carmel, and we're with you.
Thank you, Supervisor Kazari. The town of Yorktown will also be receiving $1.25 million to meet a critical need, the Halleck's Mill Sewer District Extension Project, providing public sewer service to neighborhoods presently serviced by residential septic systems. The extended district will dramatically improve and enhance the water quality of Sparkle Lake, a major recreational resource for town residents, as well as the Croton Reservoir, which provides drinking water for millions of residents in the metropolitan area, while protecting one of the largest public water systems in the United States. Here to discuss this project and the impact it'll have on local residents is Yorktown Town Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
So I'd like to thank the congressman as well. This has been a project that has been floating around in Yorktown for probably 25, 30 years to try to get the sewer extension. We had a moratorium that's been lifted, but it's been difficult to find the funds. This 1.25 million will help quite a bit into getting us to phase one. But I think one of the things that's missed, and I really want to extend my heartfelt gratitude on, is the fact that this is not something that you just write a letter about. This is something that Congressman Lawler personally comes out. He's been to our town. He's looked at the area. He's walked the streets with me, and he puts the effort into it. It's not a, hey, you know, we just need money type thing. It's like, what do you need it for? And he's making sure that our tax dollars are spent the right way and going back into our communities for the right program. And that is really great government, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ed. The Croton Falls Sewer Project in North Salem will also be receiving $1.25 million in federal funding, providing the sewers for the village of Croton Falls needs in order to take advantage of its assets and begin to realize the potential of this community. Here to discuss this important project and the impact it will have on Croton Falls and North Salem is North Salem Town Supervisor Warren Lucas.
Congressman, I want to thank you very much for the grant award. Croton Falls, it's a business community, has an MTA train station. It's on exit 8 of 684, and it does have cesspools and it does have septic tanks. And this allows us really to close our funding amount that we needed on the project, and I look forward to starting the work next year. I have to tell you, and the same comments that Ed and some of the others have made, I've been on the town board for 35 years. Sam Fish, I think, was the congressman that I started out with. Congressman Lawler has been exceptional. His team has really been exceptional. And he's always available. And I just want to thank him for that on everything that we have going on in the town. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Warren. Another important local need met in our fiscal year 25 appropriations is the Town of Orangetown Sidewalk Improvement Project, which will receive $1.5 million. The corridor receiving these improvements has seen 3 fatalities in the last 15 years, but I have no doubt that this project will drastically improve life quality in the town and will in fact save lives. Here to discuss the impact of this funding is Orangetown Supervisor Teresa Kenny.
I want to thank Congressman Mike Lawler. As he stated, this section of road has seen 3 fatalities. So it was a mission of Orangetown to make it safer. We had started the project a few years ago, but we did not have the funding to finish the project. So this is going to provide the funding for us to finish the project, again, for pedestrian safety, for motorist safety, for traffic concerns. And I think it's maybe near and dear to your heart, because when you're pushing that stroller next year, it'll be nice to know you have a nice wide sidewalk. So we really need it. It's we appreciate everything that Mike does for Orangetown.
Thank you. I'm surprised Teresa didn't stay it, but she was my boss. I was her deputy, so Teresa's done a phenomenal job in Orange County. As an aside, well, I already mentioned that. So Teresa, as I said, has been a tremendous partner in the town. Additionally, the Village of New Square will be receiving $4 million for infrastructure improvements, enhancing traffic flow, and addressing long-standing concerns about road conditions and motorist pedestrian safety in the village. Here to discuss the impact of this project is Mayor Izzy Spitzer.
Mike, I just want to support what all the speakers before, like what you said before, how especially you are, and the way you are concerned about every district and community you represent. You come and visit, you physically see what the needs are, and you deliver. Just want to thank you. This is going to prevent, save lives, help out the rescue of all the safety issues there as well, for the flooding, the many rains and floods. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
Another one of our Ramapo villages that will be receiving important roadway infrastructure funding is the village of Suffern, which will receive $1 million for Memorial Drive reconstruction, reopening a critical thoroughfare for emergency vehicles and for their timely response, which can help save lives, prevent injuries, and protect property. I know for residents, this is important because it'll give easier access to Suffern Horton Field and Suffern Memorial Pool, which Mayor Curley has spent a lot of time improving. So here to discuss the impacts of this project for Suffern residents is Suffern Mayor Michael Curley.
So I want to say thank you to Congressman Lawler and all his staff. Whenever we have a problem in Suffern, any situation, I call him or I call his staff and they get right back to us. I like when government is responsive, and that's how Congressman Lawler has been for the village of Suffern. And I guess just as importantly, Mr. Lawler didn't say, okay, who lives here, who doesn't live here. He looked at the community as a whole. He helps every different group of people, every different group of people that live in the village. He never cared what your party affiliation was or wasn't. He only wanted to know what he can do to help those people in our village. And for that, I thank him and I respect it. Memorial Drive through Mother Nature has disappeared over time, and we needed that road fixed. But that road just doesn't help the village of Suffern. That road helps the village of Montebello, who needs it desperately, the town of Ramapo. But whether you know that I'm a retired New York City firefighter, and it'll change response time for fire engines and also response times for police departments. So I thank you all, and I thank Congressman Lawler, and keep up the good work. We're proud to have you as our congressman.
Thank you, Mayor Curley. Another village on the other side of the Tappan Zee Bridge, which just celebrated its 150th anniversary this year, is Sleepy Hollow, which will be receiving just under $1 million to support a multi-phase project addressing hydraulic inefficiencies in the downtown area. The current downtown water system is over 100 years old. This project will provide immediate remediation and resiliency to infrastructure that otherwise poses a water quality and economic risk to the community, particularly its most vulnerable residents. And here to discuss it further, on behalf of the mayor and the village board, is Sleepy Hollow Village Administrator Anthony Giacchio.
And you got my name right, so thank you.
Did I pronounce it right? All right.
As the congressman said, Sleepy Hollow is an old village, like many river towns. We have an old infrastructure. Any upgrades to our water system are very costly. We couldn't do it without this kind of funding. So on behalf of the mayor, Rutner, village board, all the residents of Sleepy Hollow, thank you.
Now, you've heard from a number of my partners in local government about important pedestrian safety enhancements that will be made thanks to the federal funding we've secured. But you're going to hear from another one. The village of West Havistraw will be receiving $800,000 to construct necessary upgrades of sidewalks and curbing along Sampsondale Avenue, which have rapidly deteriorated and become a hazard. Here to discuss this project further and the impact this funding will have is West Haverstraw Mayor Rob D'Amelio.
Thank you, Congressman. $800,000, like, wow, this is a big day for West Haverstraw. I've been there over 35 years, about 35 years working for the village. I asked my village clerk, who's been there over 60 years, Mr. Fred Miller, to join me today. He too doesn't recall such funding. Truthfully, in my 35 years, we haven't received any funding from the congressman. Mike's incredible. To reiterate what everybody's saying, I've been on the phone with Mike, I'm sure you all have. Friday night, 8:30 p.m., getting off a plane. Sunday all day, trying to get help for a constituent. Mike was just recently at a coffee and bagels. When he told me he wanted to come, I said, Mike, probably we're gonna have about 30 people there. He goes, wow, that's a lot of people. I can't wait to come. He's just been phenomenal to work with. And the residents of West Haverstraw are very fortunate to have you as our congressman. Michael, thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you, Mayor D'Amelio. And last but not least, the town of Ossining will be receiving $1 million for a critical upgrade to upgrade the community's water distribution system on North State Road, an area that has a history of water main breaks, including 14 incidents over the last 5 years, exposing the general public to health risks and requires expensive repairs. This project will positively impact all 37,764 users in the service area, significantly improving water quality and safeguarding the health of residents. I'd like to call up Ossining Councilman Matt Weiss to discuss the important impact this project will have here on the community. Not here? Okay. Matt may not have been able to get over here. I know we're joined today by two of our state legislators. I'd like to ask them to come up and say a few words. Our state senator, Bill Weber.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I want to thank our congressman, I think on behalf of everyone in the 38th district. We kind of all are saying the same thing. We have a really special person as our congressperson, someone who cares about the community, someone who delivers for this community, and someone who is available and accessible at a moment's notice, no matter where he is. So on behalf of the 38th district, we thank Congressman Lawler for everything that you do and everything that you're going to do for us for as long as you want to be congressman. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Now I ask our great assemblyman, John McGowan, to come up and say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John McGowan. I have the privilege of serving as the assemblyman for the 97th Assembly District, towns of Lawrencetown and Brownville. And this is really, I think someone said it, this is not good government. This is great government. This, you see here, cooperation from our congressman with towns and villages throughout his entire district. Party doesn't matter. Doing the right thing for the people is what matters. And that's what Congressman Lawler has done time and again. He has proven himself. And it's a privilege to be one of his partners in government representing the 97th Assembly District. So once again, thank you to Congressman Lawler, all my colleagues in government here, and let's keep up the great work.
Well, in conclusion, I want to thank all of our local partners in government, from the supervisors, the village mayors, to law enforcement, our sheriff, Lou Falco, here in Rockland County, has always done a phenomenal job during his time in office, to our state legislators. This is what matters. It really does not matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Most voters want to make sure that they can afford to live in their communities, that they have a good paying job, that their children have a quality education, that we live in safe neighborhoods, that we have access to housing and healthcare, and that our municipalities run well. And that requires cooperation from the federal level, the state level, and the local level. And that's what you've seen here. And I'm proud of the fact that by the end of my term, we will have brought back over $70 million in community project funding. Now, this is your taxpayer money. But what it does by bringing back these federal dollars, which we haven't seen to these levels in a very long time. But what it does is it ensures that the municipalities can do the critical work that they need to get done without raising property taxes, without borrowing more dollars. And they get the resources they need. So we will continue to fight day in, day out to make sure that New York's 17th congressional district gets its fair share of federal dollars, and that we work tirelessly with all of our municipalities to serve the residents of this great state and this community. So I appreciate everybody being here today and happy to take any questions from the press.
Mike, we're not hearing much about sewer improvements and sidewalk widening in the ads that are all over television. What does a day like today and this kind of funding say about the actual job that the representative for the 17th district has to do, whoever it is, once they get to Washington?
Look, this is what good government is about. I'm proud of my record. I'm proud of the fact that I've been rated the fourth most bipartisan member of Congress. I'm proud of the fact that we have brought back, by the end of this year, over $70 million to this district for critical infrastructure projects. I'm proud of the fact that we've closed over 4,500 individual constituent cases, bringing back over $20 million in funds that residents are due, from the IRS to Social Security to Medicare to VA health benefits. That's what matters. That's what people care about. They want to know that you're doing the job and you're willing to work across the aisle to get it done. And I think you see that reflected here. All of our municipal leaders do a phenomenal job day in, day out on behalf of their residents. I'm proud to work with everybody here to get things done on behalf of constituents. It's silly season. There's 3 weeks left. I promise it'll be over in 3 weeks. You won't see my mug on TV as much as you do. But I think these are the things that matter, and these are the things that constituents want to know that we're doing when elected to serve.
And how important for this funding is the fact that you are a Republican in a swing district serving in a Congress where the House of Representatives is controlled by the Republicans? What happens if you win re-election, but the House goes to Democrats for the next session?
Well, look, right now we're in a divided government, right? We have a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, and a Republican House. And yet I've been able to secure tens of millions of dollars for our district. I've passed roughly a dozen bills through the House, 5 of which have become law, signed by a Democratic president. So regardless of the outcome in November, I think what it says is that I'm willing to work with any of my colleagues to get things done on behalf of this district. And that's exactly what I'll do regardless of the outcome in November.
Joe Kuhn, Rockland Times. Do you think efforts to reduce the SALT cap will have any effect on local government's ability to fund their own projects?
Oh, listen, the cap on SALT obviously had a negative impact on our communities here in the Hudson Valley. We pay among the highest property taxes in America. So allowing for residents to deduct their state and local taxes on their federal income tax return is critical. And that's been my top priority in Congress. I introduced my very first bill was to lift the cap on SALT. We fought to get that to the floor for a vote. Unfortunately, folks voted against it on the floor, including every New York House Democrat. But I do believe in this next Congress, when the tax bill expires and the cap on SALT expires, we will be able to not only lift it, but negotiate a better tax bill for the residents of this community. And that's my priority. And obviously, by lifting the cap on SALT and providing tax relief to our residents, it's going to be extremely helpful to all of our municipalities.
But isn't the Democrats voting against your bill an example of a bipartisan approach, in the sense that those Democrats are supporting an initiative put in place by Donald Trump?
Well, you have, obviously, no question, in 2017, the cap on SALT was put in place under President Trump and a Republican House and Senate. You have seen in recent years bipartisan opposition to lifting the cap on SALT. Folks on the far right and on the far left who believe it would be giving tax benefits to the wealthy. So at the end of the day, it is about building consensus. I think in New York, New Jersey, California, you will see Republicans and Democrats work together in this next Congress to get the cap lifted. And I can tell you,